gone half a glass. Dang,
He only
slow.
poured half. Remember, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I was thirsty. It's my first beer of the day.
Trick of the mind.
I want you to notice too that like as a former child of the Ozarks in Southwest Missouri, drinking out of a jar just feels good. It feels right.
Yeah, it's funny how intriguing it is to some people. They'll pick it up and be like, "Is this a jelly jar?" I'm like, "It's a mason jar," And at the end of the day, they always walk away too. Like people take them home, and I'm just like, "Okay."
Do they really?
Like it's not that.
Like you can't go to the store and get a mason jar.
We have the fancy jars at our house in our cupboard. They have the handles.
Yeah.
I think even particular details like this are just bringing it down on a grassroots, like a roots level. You know what I mean? So, I've personally just never been a fan of fancy glassware, but that's just me.
That's fine. So we do have beer. If you burp burp into the microphone. We like to judge the burps. So feel free to burp into the microphone.
You done fucked up.
You know what?
And that was the third
I like
rule.
that.
That was the third rule is you can cuss on this podcast. It's fine.
We crossed a couple bridges already.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you get close to the lake. You get,
It gets a little bit silly.
yeah.
So what happens when you get close around here? I'm not afraid to burp. Let's say.
Heard. Well, we can't wait to.
I like that followed with a threat. It was basically a threat.
You
It's
done
like,
fucked up.
You done fucked up.
All right, you ready to rock?
I came here to do two things: drink beer and burp. We're out of beer.
All right, do it.
All right, here we go.
Beers with Nigel is poured for you by Dire Oil Graphics, promotional products and design. They cover your brand bumper to bumper with graphic design, promo products, and print. See what Dire Oil Graphics can build for you at direoil.com. That's DYEROIL.com.
Smooth jazz.
Shout out to our voiceover guy, Jonathan. He's an Uber driver in Vegas. If you're ever out in Vegas, you'll know that voice. I discovered him at a brewery. Great voice.
That was some funky music.
Yeah. So welcome to Beers with Nigel. It's a show about beer
and other things.
or other stuff.
We
Depending
don't know.
on where you are in your listing of episodes. What episode is this? 120-something. 120-something.
Yeah.
We're on the road. We're at Lake Lotawana Brewing.
We've been wanting to get here for a while.
Oh, we've been talking about this for how long? You guys been open?
A year and a half.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think you came in like maybe a couple weeks after we opened.
Yeah.
And I remember it very specifically because I didn't not being fully in the brewing community before we started.
Yeah.
I knew of you. I
creepy.
saw you walk in the door. I saw you walk in the door.
You might have noticed me sometimes in the corner of your bedroom when you wake up.
I think I saw you through the window, and my first reaction was, "Oh shit!" Well, hey, I think Nigel's here. No, but it was a great conversation that we had back then.
Yeah.
We had talked about doing this podcast, and it took us this long to get back around to it. But the start of any venture like this is always just like we were talking about, very time consuming. So I'm glad we were able to make it happen today on a Monday. I mean, drinking beers on a Monday after a weekend of drinking beers is never bad.
Not a bad thing at all. We should also say that's Nigel.
And you're Nick.
And I'm Nick. The other
And
guy.
we've got Mike and Matt in the house.
Hello.
What are y'all's roles? I know you're the brewer. How's this relationship work?
So Mike's here on a day-to-day basis. Runs the show.
Put that mic up there.
There you go.
Mike and his wife Jackie.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah,
You're
that's
perfect. Yes, you got to eat the mic.
So they're here every day,
Yeah.
running the day-to-day show. Mike's pretty much he's taken over most of the brewing. Starting out, we were kind of trying to be half and half as much as possible, and me contributing, but in reality, he's here every day and he puts all the day-to-day work in.
Right.
I kind of help with the books in the back, permitting, licensing.
All the shit that I didn't want to do. Honestly, I would say that I personally am a serial entrepreneur. And one of the things that I've learned from doing that and having several different businesses, that's the thing that I personally don't want to do. I don't have to do taxes. I don't want to have to deal with all the paperwork and all the stuff like that.
You want to do all the fun stuff.
Hell yeah.
What comes
Hey,
natural?
Jeff.
I want to do the shit.
What comes
Yeah.
natural?
Yeah.
So, I'll give you a little backstory of us. Like, we've been friends since we were 15. And so, we basically, we've been throwing parties since, we were super young. And, this feels like an adult party.
Yeah.
It feels like an extension of just being a good host.
Yeah, heard.
Realistically. And, when we first started off with this venture, it kind of started off as this type of thing where I think it was like 2011, I had bought my wife this Brew in the Box kit thing, right?
Was it from what's the store? There it is.
That's the first
Hey,
one.
Welcome to the show.
I like to kind of went a little side mouth there.
I gotta really push from the lower, yeah.
So he's a professional, apparently.
Was
like
the
I
kit
said.
from Bed Bath & Beyond?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as we've learned over the episodes, that those beer kits are a lot of places, and the weirdest one was at Bed Bath & Beyond for some
Yeah,
reason.
that is
perfect.
That is
Christmas.
pretty weird. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the beyond part, right?
Right.
That's the beyond part.
Unless
So,
you
yeah,
brew
like-
in the bedroom, it's fine.
Yeah, we got that back in 2011. I registered the business under her name, and I said, hey, she was at the time looking for a different job situation. We had just moved back from Oregon, back home. This is where I grew up, and essentially I said, here you go, like, do something different. I know you like beer, you sure shit like drinking it. So,
Just to make some.
yeah, let's do this. And so I registered the business in her name, and then basically we shelved that box for 8 years, and we didn't even open it. We didn't even do anything with it. And I think it was 2019.
18, the
2000.
first Chiefs Super Bowl.
First Chiefs Super Bowl.
First in many years,
We were
anyway.
all kind of like, you know what? Like, we should give this a go just for the fun of it, And to preface, like, we had, there you go.
That was good.
Got some
Nick. Look at
competition.
you.
That was an opener.
Got some
Even-
competition.
even though we can't necessarily hear you. That was good off of the.
I could
So-
feel it.
Yeah,
So,
It's guttural.
I appreciate that.
anyways, we decided to try it out just for fun, whatever. And so we
During
went
the Super Bowl.
during the Super Bowl, during the Super Bowl, which your attention to detail in a situation like that is not
So
crazy,
you were
right?
brewing during the Super Bowl?
Yeah, beginner's luck, and we were brewing outside, in the snow
On a turkey fryer.
on a turkey fryer.
This is great.
Needless to say, I can't even remember. It was like a white chocolate porter. He always gives me shit for it.
Yeah, it
but
had a heck of a name.
we called it Ships in the Night. Anyways, point being is we still have people actually ask us about that beer.
Really?
Which is, odd. But it turned out really good. And so, it was close to the start of the pandemic or whatever,
Yeah.
And I think maybe I kind of put some thought into it. And I was like, you know what? I was like, this could be something. And so we ended up buying like a half barrel SS system.
Yeah.
And from previous experience with technology and just shit that didn't work out, I was like, I want a turnkey system, right?
Okay.
And so we bought this thing, and it came in 15 boxes and 3,000 parts, it felt like, right? And as 2 or 3, because my wife was involved too, starting this up with us, and we kind of looked at everything, and we knew nothing about brewing.
Never brewed. Never brewed.
You could
all grain.
say sparge or any of these weird words,
Yeah.
and we had no clue what the hell it meant. Sparge arm, whatever. We had no clue, right?
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there looking at these pieces, and oddly enough, there's not a whole lot of instructions on how to put this shit together. And so we started looking on YouTube, and the one thing that we realized on YouTube was that everybody kind of brews beer differently.
Yeah.
Same process, but a little bit different, And so We spent the better part of like 3.5 years, I think.
Putting it together?
Yeah, it was a long process.
We finally got it. We finally got it. But no, I mean, you know, we figured it out, and we spent the better half or part of 3.5 years of basically just brewing like our 4 flagship beers.
Yeah.
And getting those ones dialed in instead of like trying different recipes every time.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like, since we didn't really know what the hell we were doing, we had to basically brew, take it to parties, drop it off, see what people liked.
Yeah.
You know, obviously going through the motions, there's off flavors
Yeah.
and everything like that. And so you kind of just not knowing, you kind of like, what the hell is that? You know, like, why does it taste like that?
Yeah.
Or why is it, you know, this and that? Or how do we carbonate better? Or, you know, all these different things. And it got to be to where we slowly kind of, you know, one thing after the other, looked it up and kind of researched it and kind of got to where we felt pretty comfortable with those 4 beers.
Yeah. So it begs the question.
Well, it begs a lot of questions.
questions.
I'm curious which one you're starting with.
So you got the kit for your wife, and it sits around for years. And at what point you're like, you know what, this feels like a business, and you're going to your best buddy and
Good
you're like,
question.
bro, let's start a brewery.
I got an idea. We don't know what we're doing, but I got an
I've
idea.
never done it before, but I think it's going to work.
I'm definitely the ideas guy.
Yeah, and the idea had been there for years, and he is the ideas guy. And
Well,
he's got lots of ideas.
Well,
and
what
they're all
good
ideas.
friends don't sit around and think, let's open a bar.
Absolutely, and a brewery at that. So yeah, it was, we'd brewed on the small system for, you know, 3.5 years, and it was finally a point where we kind of, you know, posed the question to each other, is where do we want to go with this? We want to keep just brewing for our friends and bringing free beer everywhere. Do we want to cross the bridge and start to be able to
Get money for beer.
to be permitted to brew it and to sell it. Yeah.
What was that? What was that thing though that we were like, oh yeah, we can sell it?
Yeah, so I would say like it got to the like this area in particular is kind of a niche area, and to be quite honest with you, like I don't know that if we would have put this brewery anywhere else, just because of it's kind of a destination place in the summertime, right? You have a lot of people from the city come out here to their summer homes and whatever in the summertime, and it got to the point to where we took it to parties, we took it out on the lake, we basically let people try it, and it got to the point to where it was like, well, are we going to do something with this? If not, somebody else is going to do this.
Yeah.
Because like the brewery trend at the time was pretty hot and heavy.
Yeah.
And so it got to be one of those like, yeah, well, we've got this in our pocket. Like we've got this arrow in our quiver, you know, so are we going to use it or not? And at the end of the day, we just decided that it would be a pretty cool community-based thing to start here.
Yeah.
You know, so.
It was a phone call. He called me and said, hey, are we going to do this or not? And we decided right then and there, like, let's go forward. Let's start right now. This is the beginning of it. And
Did he have to
that's how
sweeten
it
the pot
official-
at all?
What's that?
Did he have to sweeten that pot at all?
Sweeten the pot. You know? I mean, I trust him. I've known him for years and years, and we both know each other. And you know, once we make a commitment to something, we know there's no going back. And so there was no question in whether it would work or not. It was just when we wanted to start. And
I think that's the one thing that we do have with each other, is that we're pretty determined in whatever we're doing. We're pretty determined, and I know that you know, if I got a flat tire in the middle of the night, I can call him up and say, hey, I need your help, like whatever, you know. And I know that you know, I know his personality, and so it was pretty easy on a trust factor, right? Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of one of those things where it just kind of came to a head, and we just decided that it would be good for the community at the very least, you know, because what we wanted was just this small place to bullshit over a beer. So.
Well, you said you're a serial entrepreneur. So what's your background?
Background is I run and own a construction company. Worked in construction most of my life now, so I run that during the day, and
run books at night. That sounds
right.
fun.
Yeah, I got a family, got 3 little girls and wife and 3 daughters, and so I run the construction company and yeah, everything else in between the time I got and everything I can do. But yeah.
You know what time it is, Nick?
I think it's
Mystery beer time.
Mr.
So that's it. You guys are familiar with Big Rip Brewing. That is Bree Burrows, the brewer over there. That's her voice. so somehow she.
Well, she kept singing while we recorded, and I'm like, that's a loop.
So we played this game. I'm gonna let you pick a beer out of the mystery beer bag.
Okay, I'm down.
As you might imagine,
There are rules.
it came from a golf course, right?
Okay.
We don't know what golf course. That guy's not talking. So you're gonna pull a beer out of the bag. You're gonna give us the description of it, the style. Try your best not to look at the ABV. We play a game called Guess the ABV.
Nice.
And the closest one.
Price is Right rules. Closest
Price
without
is
going
Right
over.
rules. So the closest one, if there's any beer left in the can, you get to drink it.
Awesome.
But generally there's not. But so
I'm probably going to be fucking terrible at this.
we're all
Well,
terrible at it.
Nigel and I like to set the bar low.
Okay,
So that
yeah.
the guests are better.
Set the bar real low.
Are we going to
'cause-
need one more taster glass?
Well, I thought there was only be. Whoa.
Well
Whoa.
done.
Starting
Okay.
out.
Welcome to the game.
That was deep.
Wow. He just said, I see you, friend.
And I'll raise you. I'll just use my ball glass.
Oh, okay.
Okay. There's
Whoa.
There's 4 beers in here.
Yeah,
You get
those are two different things.
to just dig in there and grab whatever.
And am I supposed to look at it or no?
Yeah, just try not to look at
Not
the ABV.
Not the ABV.
So who do we?
Or the style?
So the
You
brewer,
can tell us the style and where it's from.
the brewery,
Oh, okay.
the name, the style.
Okay, so Heady Topper, The Alchemist, Vermont.
Yeah, that's some beer karma I got from my friend ran the Boston Marathon, and she always brings me beer back. So that was pretty nice. You wanna?
Yes, sir.
You can pop up.
Hold on.
Thomas. Yeah, talk amongst yourselves.
Ah.
Probably half is fine.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah. I have so many fucking
Oh, I bet.
taster glass. I have so many glasses.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
You can take that one. I'll pour my own, sir.
We always have a lot of fun at Parkville. I think.
Yeah,
I think
it's a fun
mainly
fest.
because like, it just feels good out there. Like as far as we get to see all of our friends in the brewing industry, and we all get to hang out for a
Right.
day. And
First of the year, you know.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
This particular
what's our-
beer
what's our
is
style
pretty
again?
legendary. Heady Topper. You can't get it in this part of the country. It's an East Coast beer.
Okay.
Smells great.
It's one of the early New England IPAs.
Okay. Yeah. Smell that. Ooh, wow.
And that is tasty.
That is tasty.
Yep.
Got some good flavor.
Yep.
Tastes like it.
It's crisp.
Tastes like it has like Citra hops.
Yeah, it kind of does. doesn't it?
Citra and maybe Centennial or something
Yeah.
in there.
I have no idea, but hey, let's guess the ABV.
Good flavor.
I would say it's got to be a little bit stronger.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 6.7. We got over there, man.
Well, I'd say our IPA is like about a 6.7, and I think it's
That's bigger?
higher than that.
Okay. What do you say?
I'm gonna say 7 something.
You gotta
gotta give a number.
7 something. On Price is Right. Bob.
This is like
Bob is
closest
a dollar
without
something.
going over. Okay, I'm gonna say 7.7.
Okay.
Well, if you do that, I'll do 7-1.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do 7.8.
7.8.
One over. Yes.
My first was going to be 6-7, but that's a good guess. So I don't want to pin you in there. So.
You know what I'm going to go?
6.9.
6.9.
Oh, you
Nice.
did it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Actual retail ABV 8%.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you
Yeah,
go.
I'm
There you
not
go.
surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get to drink the rest.
Yeah.
Party.
Yes.
That's a good.
That's a good clip right there.
No,
Party.
that's a really good beer.
It is. Yeah.
Um,
Fresh and clean.
The one thing I'll say about like hoppy beers is like for me, they've got to have that full flavor, but not staunch, not crazy.
Not too bitter.
This is drinkable.
Yeah.
You don't want super face puckering.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think for as high of an ABV as this is,
Yeah, it's smooth.
like it's pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's pretty
pretty
smooth.
good.
That's why I guess like 6, 7. As soon as I taste it, I'm like,
All right.
I do wonder what hops is in it, but I feel like it's like Citra or something.
something. There's a big old paragraph on the back there. We ain't got time to read that.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Drink the beer.
So,
All right.
So let's talk about because I know when I first met you and I came over here, the logo is pretty unique. And to the uninitiated, you explained it to me. For those who don't know, go look up the Lotawana Brewing.
The seal.
The seal or whatever.
The Lotawana seal.
Yeah. So give me because there's a lot of components to it as I'm looking at it right now. How'd that come about? Who designed it?
So I designed it. I actually went to school for design, design by trade.
Okay.
So I've done a lot of logo design, a lot of typography, stuff like that. And realistically, like when you go through the motions of designing a logo for anything you're doing, there's a lot of thought involved to like what you're trying to portray and everything like that. And I wanted something that really meant a lot to this area and kind of to us. And so, oh Jesus!
Nice. You almost
That's
turned away
awesome.
from that one.
I don't know why he was looking away from that. Like,
I felt
lean
it
into the
coming.
camera. Let's
need my shield
go.
I felt it coming, and I was like, God damn it. I was like right in the middle of this. No. So basically, here, I'll get, let me get the sticker.
Show and tell.
On your hat.
It is on your hat, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I can hear you crazy loud right now.
Him?
Oh, we can turn you down. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So basically, this
Some
is
weird microphones.
This is the logo, and the font itself is very like.
Let's hold it up here to the.
I'm sorry.
Let the people see.
Boom.
There we go.
The font itself is a very like Viking type of, seafaring type of font, and basically. Out here we do a lot of boating, right? So we're always on the water and whatever, and so I felt like having the coordinates to the middle of the lake, which is the home is where the heart is, type of thing.
Yeah.
I felt was important to have in there, and then going up here into the sky, it's more like the stars guide us home, right?
Yeah.
And then essentially, the red and the green, if you know anything about boating or lighting on boats or whatever, this is like what your bow would have.
Yeah.
So like the
That means nothing to me.
Navigational lights.
Well, I've been on a boat and I've seen the red light and I've seen the green light. So here we are.
All I know is
all the same.
I've seen those lights, but here's what I know about boating.
Yeah.
I sit either in the front or the back and I drink.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, hurt.
Yeah. Well, I sit in the front, and I won't claim to drink. But yeah, so basically, when you're looking at a boat head on, the red or the green, depending on what you see, denotes which way the boat's going, right or left, right? So, basically, that was kind of all a navigational type of thing.
It's a cool ass logo.
It's a great logo.
Thank you very much.
It's a very cool logo. Yeah. And I knew, like I said, I knew the story behind it. There you go. That was a little weaker than the last one.
Well, look, they've set the bar pretty high already.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
here we are.
I'm like RC Cola. I'm fine finishing third.
Nothing wrong with RC.
All right, we got a problem here.
Beers.
Yeah, I got no beer.
Okay.
You know
want to
what?
get some beers?
You know what, folks? We'll have a brief intermission.
Okay, heard.
All right.
Go for it.
It's kind of a love story, and it is kind of a murder story. So. It's a murder ballad.
For you, Nigel, it's just swingers on the lake. That's all it is.
Swingers. Though.
I also like to have them out here now.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's real life.
That's the real life.
That is the real life.
So, Matt, let's go back and talk about the building and how you guys found this and what you guys had to do. Because right now, when you come in here, it's pretty eclectic. It has a vibe. The first time I walked in, I'm like, oh, this is fucking dope.
Yeah.
Because it's very intentional.
Much
You
appreciated.
see that down there?
Oh yeah.
I mean, all the
photos.
things that if you look around, you're like, oh shit, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, because I saw them first as their signs for their beers,
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
looked down. I'm like, now that's just
Yeah.
that's that extra thing.
We wanted to
that you add.
recreate the
Yeah.
recreate the vibe and bring as much of the lake to here as possible. So yeah, we our next step after deciding that we were gonna open a brewery
There we
is
go.
finding the right location. There's not a lot of choices right here.
Yeah, heard.
So we started looking around, and this place came up, and it was it needed a lot of work. It was an old house. We gutted the whole thing, did some additions on it for the brew house, and gutted it down to the bones completely. The hardwood floor, the blue hardwood floor, is the only thing left in the whole place.
Wow.
Wow.
So I would say a couple things, right? Like, Lotawana has a storied history of the mafia.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of bootlegging and all sorts of stuff out here back in the 1940s. And so this house was actually built around that same time period. And, we kind of wanted, so before I started doing this, I've done construction as well, most of my life, and most of the construction that I did was design build type stuff, and so when we were putting this place together, it was like, when you go to Disney World and you go,
It's a weird story.
Yeah. When you go to Disney World and you walk into the ride,
Yeah.
and it's so much more than if you were to go to, not knocking it, but if you were to go to
Worlds
Worlds
of
of
Fun.
Fun,
Yeah, I heard,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? There's a whole thing behind it, right? A whole theme and whatever, and it's all smoke and mirrors
Yeah.
and whatever, and so like putting this place together, I felt like it needed to be very curated. Right,
Heard.
like very,
Yeah.
very
That's a
curated.
good way to put
and
it.
so, like, everything I do here is very much based on the visual. It's based on what you're, hearing. It's based on, what you're smelling in the air, And so, putting this place together, like, it's a combination of like a very clean environment, right, where everybody feels super comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's also like got that eclectic, old school, like antique,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Random things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, that's a nice touch,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you normally might not expect, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I dig it.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
it's a great little building.
It's a unique.
Thank you.
I would think. Yeah. Thank you very much. I would say that I think people especially when we first opened, people coming here looking at it from the outside, they would never expect that, when you walk through the door, it kind of opens up as it does, and it feels bigger even though it's still in a small,
Right.
space.
I mean, I've been in this area a bunch of times. I'd never been on this street until you guys opened.
Right.
Because why would I go down this
Yeah.
street? Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I've driven back and forth on that
this
road
street?
all years, most
It's
of my
the
life,
cut over
right?
to I-70.
Well,
is it?
yeah,
Yeah,
like
I've never
between
I've
Lee
never
Summit
taken
and
it.
This is
that
the
side of
back
Lee
way
Summit,
behind
Blue
Blue
Springs.
Springs.
Right.
Oh,
So like I've seen the house
It's
a
the-
million
It's the back
times.
roads to the Home Depot and Walmart down the road.
You know what? Here's something for you. Here's something for everybody, I guess, that's listening to this. Go on Google, Google Maps or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
Street View.
Yeah.
You can still see what this house looked like before we
no shit.
took it over.
Yeah.
It's absolutely atrocious.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
The transformation
Yeah.
has been.
It wasn't the worst though on the block.
Yeah, it was.
There was the one over there that used to have the tree through the roof
The one that
for a
fell,
while.
fell over.
Well, yeah.
I mean, this one was still standing.
I mean, dude.
even though they were told to knock it down.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen, the landlord literally, like, when we found this place, we were supposed to go in potentially across the street over by all the bars over there,
Yeah.
and when we found this place, it just happened to have like a sign in the yard that said for lease, like commercial property. And so I called this guy and I was like, hey, what's up with that place? I was like, you say commercial property? I was like, you got an old shitty house. I was like, what are you talking about? And he literally said to me, he's like, it's just the property. He was like, you bulldoze the house if you want, you use the house if you want. And we just kind of felt like it, again, we were trying to create this space.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, Nigel said, "Don't count me out."
It kind
I couldn't let that one go.
I can't turn that.
It kind of looked like you scared yourself.
I did.
That's a good beer name.
You kind of look like
You look like you scared yourself.
What kind of beer would that be? Good
Oh,
Lord.
man, yeah.
But yeah,
That's a
I
German
mean,
beer.
like again, we just tried to like create a space for our community, right?
Yeah.
Like I've got a deep, fond love for the place that I grew up.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was a lot of people that are out here that don't necessarily hang out.
Yeah.
And you'll find them on the lake.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't typically get out. And the thing that I noticed once we fully got open and fully got going was you had people of all sorts hanging out here.
Yeah.
You had older folks hanging out here.
Yeah.
You had hippie kids hanging out here. You had beer nerds hanging out here.
Yeah.
You had people with their kids and their dogs. And, like, we have a very, like, we have a pretty big outside. So that's pretty big for us. So we're pretty stoked about yard season here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you go out into our yards, it's very much the open park vibe.
That's a beer name right there, Yard Season. You got to brew a beer called Yard Season.
There you go.
Just
I'm
a
gonna
real
give you that
clear,
Yeah, we can't
light
get away from
beer.
that now.
Boom.
Yeah.
Put that in
Crusher.
my pocket.
Crusher.
Very seasonal. Yeah, comes
Yeah.
out.
Yard Season.
I
May
mean-
to October.
Are you
Yeah.
guys? Are you Lotawana lifers? Is this where you grew up and you live?
Yeah, so I would say this, like, I moved here with my parents in maybe about the time I was 6 or 7. We kind of started coming out here. We had a place in Raytown. We'd come out here in the summertime, and essentially, I think maybe about 5th grade, we moved out here full time. And I've been out here. My parents live right down the road. I've been out here since then and grew up out here. And then when we got in high school,
Yeah.
What was next?
Oh,
Yeah.
there was
I was gonna say, I
that was a
lot
look.
of time at the lake. Why would you not be at the
he
lake?
knows the exhale. So
That was a look that
essentially-
said, "Remember that time we almost died?"
Yeah,
Oh,
well, something
oh,
like
man.
that. We basically met at a party.
See?
we met at a party, and essentially we got in trouble. Which I wasn't really a troublemaker at the time. He conned me into it. And,
He's still blaming you.
I've
Wow.
always been the scapegoat.
yeah, so anyways, we got in trouble and we got kicked out of school, needless to say, for a couple weeks together. And I was like, fuck it. I was like, I live out at the lake. I was like, let's go ride jet skis.
Heard.
And so
Yeah.
It was May. It was like this time of year.
Yes.
yeah, so like we've spent 2 weeks fucking around on the lake, and at the end of the day, we kind of enjoyed it. And so, it was one of those things where you're like, okay, like I can deal with this. Like I can deal with getting kicked out of school. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I went off to college. I went to Colorado Institute of Art, came back to Warrensburg. Warrensburg's really where I would say the party scene took over as far as like we had the only house on campus. We threw keggers every Saturday night with 3 bands and 4 kegs, and it was kind of one of those things where that's kind of, in this type of environment, that really translates, right?
Right.
And then, like, I think it was like 2005. Is that right?
When I moved out?
Yeah.
06, yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
like, he ended up, he grew up just down the road in Lee Summit, but he's got some family ties here and whatever. And so, like, at the end of the day, he really liked it out here. And he moved out here in 2005. I ended up getting married after college and moving to Oregon for a while. And so when I moved back out, or when we were thinking about moving back home, it was like, well, my best friend lives there. So realistically, like, that's where I want to be anyways.
Yeah.
So,
we skipped over one of our. We don't have planned questions on this podcast.
Did you just realize that you missed the "What were you drinking?" question?
You should have said something. You're part of the fucking show.
Look, I was proud of you for changing the route a little bit there.
We just haven't done it a while.
I was
What were we drinking?
I was proud of you for that.
Everybody has the delineation of we know we were drinking in high school and college.
Yeah.
But there was that one beer you're like, oh, that was different than the shit we were drinking at the parties.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were
Look,
drinking?
I'm gonna guess your UCM beer was Natty.
It probably
Natty Light?
was.
Yeah, probably
man.
Natty Light.
We were
Yeah.
cheap.
Like
we were
PBR.
cheap.
Well, of course you were.
something.
You're in
Oh,
college. Of course you were
yeah.
cheap. We're
Oh,
all
yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
Like, $5 a at the door.
Yeah, made it work. But it was probably Natty or Bud Light or something like that.
Do you remember what
the first beer?
Oh, that's different than what I've been drinking. Do you
You mean
remember
like
that?
microbrew?
Yeah.
Well, what flipped the switch? You're like, oh, this is good beer.
I drank Budweiser for many years. That was my. I try not
Still
to.
does.
Look.
Every so often I'll sneak one.
Get
in.
rid of that St. Loser shit. You live
Right.
in Kansas City, man. Come on.
No shit. Yeah, it's even farther away than that
Yeah.
now. But yeah. No, once we started brewing our own beer, I pretty much quit drinking domestic for the most part to support the.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this.
find the palate.
That is true. However, when we go camping, I still got Coors Banquet in my
him right
cooler.
there.
Yeah.
That's my love. I still have Coors Banquet in my cooler. And
I love a
guarantee you
Banquet.
Still got some Budweisers. So
I love a High Life or a Modelo or
sure.
fucking
Sure. Champagne of beers.
If you guys ever been to on 39th Street High Dive, High Dive Lounge.
I have not been.
Go
there.
down there sometime. Actually, 39th Street Brewing is right across the street.
Okay.
So you can double up. But
Nice.
High Dive has a
Double up.
mystery beer machine.
Oh wow.
So all the
it's
beers.
like a old Coke machine.
That's
yeah.
badass.
And so whatever all the beers are $3. Whatever comes out, that's what you drink.
You know we've got.
So it might be a Bud, it might be something better. But,
You don't know.
Oh yeah.
But I can't. I always going just give me a mystery beer. Fuck
That's
it.
fucking awesome. Yeah.
That's an awesome idea.
I like
We
that.
actually have a couple old Coke machines that we're going to bring over here just for nostalgia. So.
Yeah.
Back to your question. I would say for me so as far as craft beers go, my dad. Shout out to my dad.
Shut up. Dad.
Yeah, my dad. So my dad used to brew beer when I was a kid.
Really?
And so he had this little this brewery named I think it was called High Meadows Brewing Company or something like that. He brewed I'm wanting to say it was a raspberry wheat
Okay.
beer, something like that.
Yeah.
And so that was probably one of my first introductions to a craft beer.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe that Moose Drool. Do you guys know?
Oh yeah, Moose Drew, old school.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, that was one of the early crafts.
That's one of the early craft beers, and I would say that was probably one of the first craft beers that I actually drank.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I remember when Boulevard started. I think one of the guys lived down the street from us or something like that, and so I always liked their flagship lineup.
Yeah, because early on in Boulevard, there were a few of the brewers lived out this direction.
Yeah, I don't know. We lived. So my dad lived in Raytown at the time, and it was kind of, I don't know, over there by Raytown South High School. Anyways, one of the guys from Boulevard, obviously, this was probably '89, sometime in that time period. We'd always see their van parked at the neighbor's house. I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What's it been like for the Lotawana community to have it? Because think about it. It's a brewery desert on this side of Eastern Jack. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And to have one in Lotawana, because we've always thought that this little area here could totally support it.
Right.
I mean, Captain's has been killing it for years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what's it been like, and for the locals to be like, oh shit, because I've got a buddy that lives on S, and he's like, yeah, that's where I go because it's close to my house.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. We were very welcomed by the community.
Yeah.
It was something that is different than the rest of the bars and drinking establishments out here.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it was something everybody was excited for. But I mean, since we opened, I think we've, I don't know, set the bar higher than what our expectations from the beginning in what we have to offer now. I mean, as far as not just the beers, but the seltzers and everything for, something for everybody. Having something for everybody, not just, even if there's somebody that doesn't like beer, wants to come to a brewery, come find something they can enjoy.
Yeah. As far as what size system are you guys on?
So we're on a 3-barrel hot side.
Okay.
And then we have 6-barrel fermenters. So
nice.
if we wanted to do a double batch
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
We got pretty lucky with our system as far as patience is a virtue. And
Well, when you spend several years putting it together,
Right.
here we are.
When you let the kit sit in your attic for 8 years.
you know what's funny? You know what's funny is Well, for one, our system that we're talking about, right? Like, we, just like any brewery, we went out and got quotes for all this shit.
Yeah,
and it was like hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know? And Matt just kept saying, like, we know what we need. We know the size we can fit. Like, you know, we had figured it up by square footprint and everything, exactly what we could fit in that stupid little garage, you know?
And there's not an inch to spare.
And there's not an inch to spare, you know? And so, like, we knew what we were looking for. We waited until we found a system on Pro Brewer that was exactly what we needed, an electric system. That was just big enough to produce, right?
Yeah.
But also not crazy. Like, you know, at the end of the day, again, we didn't start off as brewers. So, you know, for us, it's like I'm not going all in on a 20-barrel system or anything like that. We ended up finding this system from a little brewery out in, was it Winter Park? Mm-hmm. Winter Park. It's called Hideaway Park Brewery.
Okay.
Excellent brewery. They've been putting out award-winning beers on this system for quite a few years, and they were up in their ante, and so they just needed it out of their hair.
Yeah.
And so he gave us a leg up. It was crazy. Like, we got a crazy good deal on it.
Great experience.
And
Yeah.
So we got this system.
That's a fun road trip. We're driving out.
So like Dumb and Dumber, like Dumb and Dumber.
No, very good analogy.
So like we called this guy and we're like, hey, yeah, we'll take that system, you know. And I think it was like right when like Apex Brewing Systems had gone out.
Yep.
And so a lot of people were hesitant to get this system
Yeah.
because they couldn't get parts and whatever, you know. And at the end of the day, most of the parts that you'd find on any system like this are going to be pretty universal.
Similar, yeah.
Right. So like we were like, yeah, you know, that's okay, whatever, we can deal with that. And so we called him up. We said, hey, we're going to come, you know, grab this up from you. We'll be there on Saturday. And so we got a 25-foot box truck.
The biggest Penske truck you
Biggest
can get.
Penske truck you could get.
Big old yellow
And
truck.
we left on Friday night. We got there. We drove all through the night. Saturday morning, we got there about 10 o'clock in the morning, driving this stupid truck through this pass, right?
Yeah.
Where it was
In February.
In February.
Oh,
So it was,
Jesus.
like, snowy.
Yeah.
And it was crazy as shit. We've got a video. It's pretty awesome. But
Yeah.
basically, we got there, had a couple burritos and a couple beers with this guy, and he kind of showed us his system and whatever, and we loaded up and said, hey, thanks, and we tooled it back. We were back by Sunday morning, and so it was just like a quick hiatus, you know, and you know, it was worth it because it you know, with any type of business like this that you're starting up, you got to be efficient and you got to be you know, frugal and whatever to get going. And I felt like that was the definite leg up that we needed because realistically, like if we got a quote for this same system just even with 3-barrel fermenters and it was almost $200,000 or something like that.
Yeah, something we couldn't do.
Something we couldn't do, right?
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty expensive, and so realistically, getting a leg up like this really helped us get our start, you know, and be able to make some moves.
Back here and unloading on that Sunday after, you know, less than 24 hours after leaving. That was like the surreal moment for me, unloading and loading up our brew house with like real professional equipment.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, we're actually doing it.
Yeah, that was like until then we had a building, you know, and then all of a sudden, and 2 days later we had a brewery, and it was was the moment. Was like, here we go.
Is that enough? Now are you guys already? Because it's funny, we always talk to new brewers, and it's like, you know, you build the walk-in, and in 2 weeks you're like, fuck, I wish it were double the size.
Same.
So on that note, so we got this walk-in. It's like 10 by 15 or something like that. And when we first started off, we literally had everything kind of piled up in there, and we were like, oh we're gonna need something else. And so you know, but realistically, like I would say that the system that we're rocking right now is still a safe bet for us. It just requires, like, this time of year, like I'm in full mode right now.
Lots of brewing.
Right?
Yeah.
Lots of
How
brewing.
often are you brewing?
At least twice a week.
Oh, no shit. Yeah.
At least twice a week. And so, you know, it's constantly keeping stuff processing and stuff. And so the one thing I'd say about like our beer in particular is like we know our clientele. Our clientele are Miller Lite, Coors Light, you know, light beer drinkers.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. And you know, oh Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a double bacon. Wow. I've never seen that happen
I think,
before.
I think that calls for a social.
Social.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, so I'd say, like, you know, I always say it like, we're not the weird beer place. We're just not. Like, at the end of the day, like, most of the people who come in here are ready to drink session-style beers. And so, like, I've tried to create a scale from lightness to darkness and cheap to, not expensive, but cheap to a higher-end beer, you know, more craft seasonal beer. So, it provides a little something for everybody. And I would say overall, like, our lighter beers, like right now, we just came out with this Cook and Swim lager, which
I love that name.
well, it
goes way back.
I mean,
It does
that feels like lake time to me, like,
Yeah,
right? Because when I think of lake, I'm cooking out, and I'm gonna go float and swim
Soak in
and
the
drink.
water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't do a lot. When I go lake time,
Yeah.
I don't do a lot. I float and I drink.
You cook and swim.
Same.
Yeah,
Check
yeah.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
look, I'm old and fat. I'm not doing this shit anymore.
So, somebody said to me the other day, they're like, more like drink and drown.
Okay.
Okay. No, that name goes way back for us personally to floating down in southern Missouri.
Yeah.
We'd be cooking and swimming. And, so that's kind of where that came
That's
from.
my youth.
But that beer in particular, like, we put that out there as a gimme, right? That beer for us is like, we want to have that cheap, light beer that, a lot of folks are looking for, have it be inexpensive and whatever. And I tell you what, like, since we came out with that beer, like, I can't brew it fast enough.
Yeah. It's like yesterday there's another place at the Crossroads, Jim's Alley Bar, which is a dive bar, but it's newer, but it's made to look like a dive bar.
Right.
Okay.
And Alma Mater, they do it's just a light beer called Hank, and that's their canned beer they have over there, and you can crush those. It's 4%. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
what this
yeah,
is.
yeah.
4%.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you can sit in the water and crush that all day long.
It's nice to have the option.
What am I? I want a little interlude here. What am I drinking here? Because this isn't plain beer, but it's it's fantastic.
Right.
So that's our Bowie 5. So that's.
I was like, it's not up there.
No, it's not. And so this is actually one of the beers that we took to Parkville. This is one of our new introductions.
Try that.
It's,
I don't want your warm ass beer. I want my own fresh one.
Let's go get him a fresh one.
I'll get it different. Well,
Yeah.
you go get
Hey, by the
yours this time.
way, did you see what happened there? He said, "I don't want
Still
it."
drinking.
Like,
That is tasty.
Nigel and I have been drinking together enough that I know he's still going to drink it.
That beer in particular is a farmhouse style Belgian Saison style beer, and
Really, really
Got that
good.
funk.
it's so for
The
so
banana
that's-
and the funk.
That's an 8.5% beer.
Oh, no shit.
It's got 150 ounces of Amarillo hops on the front side, so it's all aroma.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is it drinks really easily.
Drinks,
so
yeah.
those get you in trouble.
Yeah.
I am enjoying this.
Yeah, good. Well, so I would say, like,
Thanks, brother.
I would say on the
You
craft,
see how he poured it? Half pour, goddamn right.
2 for 1, baby, 2 for 1. I would say on the craft beer side of things, like, when you start off, dude, it was crazy. Like, we started off on this big system, and then all of a sudden it was like a roller coaster. We had never, like, used a system like that.
Yeah.
And, like, all of a sudden, like, even though we had brewed on this other little system for 3.5 years, and we refined our craft and everything like that.
When you scale it
as soon
up.
as we scaled it up, it
You had
was
to
like
refine
starting
again.
all over.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That first time we brewed, it was like, I think it was like 13 and a half hours, something stupid.
Okay.
No shit.
Of brewing. Water and shit was going everywhere, hoses, and we were just like, so with everything you do, you kind of learn and you kind of
Get the reps, yeah.
you kind of make some moves and whatever. And at the end of the day, like, I try not to look at the comments. I know there's that.
People suck.
Or
No, just like on Google.
It doesn't matter.
Comments,
It doesn't matter.
whatever.
People suck. Don't
People
look
suck.
at comments.
Yeah. So, anyways, like one of the comments, the early comments that I read, was something to the effect of like, oh, well, these guys have like watered down beers or whatever. And in my mind, I'm like, duh, asshole, water or beer is made from water. So, but at the same time, like, I understood what they were saying as far as like, we have really super easy drinking beers, and that's on purpose. But at the end of the day, like, as we've moved into the new year, new things, we've tried to have a little bit of that spectrum, for everybody. So for the craft beer nerd. Like this year, we've brought out the Bowie 5. We've brought out the Coconut Porter, and a few others that are a little bit more in depth.
This is what I'll tell you, because people always comment to me because they think I know about every fucking brewery in town.
Well,
maybe I do.
Comes with the territory.
And so people come to me and say, "And if you've been here, if you've been there, blah 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 blah." And I always tell people, I'm like, if you went to some place you didn't like it, and you thought it was this, that, and the other. It's going to evolve, especially new. There's only a 100%.
few. You aren't the same brewer you were when you opened.
Of course not.
Oh my gosh.
No.
So, and you have to explain that to people, and then also, I the one thing I love about Transparent and Nolan at Transparent, the owner, is that he loves to teach. The reason it's called Transparent, our core beers, the recipes are on the website. There's a lot of glass. You can see into the brew house.
Sure.
All that business. So I like to educate people on, if you know the style, then you're better educated too when you taste it. It may not be for you, but if you know what the style is,
100%.
then you're not going to have a dumbass comment on
Right.
wherever.
Well, I think you and I.
Oh yeah.
You and I have fully embraced that with people. Like, okay, that style might not be your jam, but if you know the style, you can say, yeah, they hit it. It's just not my thing.
We have a Belgian Tripel that we do every year. It's for style wise, it's great. Not my beer.
Right.
It's not something I want to drink.
Sure, I'm not a shandy person, but there's a lot of people that love shandies.
Look, here's the thing about shandies.
They're goofy.
You can crush. Yes, but
You should brew a shandy called Goofy Shandy.
you can
Be
drink
about
that
right.
shit all day long, and it's
to each
like
their own.
like water.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll find myself going to breweries and buying a sixer at the grocery store or whatever of something that I don't like. What's that? Of something that I don't like, just to try to find, like, somebody likes this. I'm trying to find that palette of why somebody would like this and try to imitate or
I know we've got
try
full
to
beers.
understand.
It's time for a mystery beer.
It is. What'd you say? It's time for what?
Go for it.
Mystery beer.
You got to pee? I got to pee. We take pee breaks.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we'll let Matt do
we're
the
gonna
work.
pause
You
for a
get-
pee break.
You want to pass him the bag?
Do.
There's 3 left in there. You get to pick.
All right. Not looking.
I'm assuming this is the just smoked wheat.
Actually, that's the coconut porter.
Oh, I'm all off.
So
I'm all
yeah,
off.
Yep, that's the coconut. Didn't have as much coconut flavor on the latest brew. I think I should have left the coconut in for another day, but we hand roast the coconut. No extra.
It's definitely on the nose.
Good.
But there's
yeah.
that
Yeah, and that's-
smoky hit to it.
Yeah.
That's what made me think.
Yeah, and I mean it's got the mixture of dark malts that I used in that one kind of brings almost a coffee flavor.
What's
as
the
well.
ABV on that thing?
It's about 6.7.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah.
It's almost.
Yeah.
I don't want to say portery, but
It is. I mean, it's a it's a coconut porter. Yeah.
He said porter, and it's a goddamn
Right.
porter.
But
I didn't. But I.
But yeah,
that's what he
didn't
was
want that
aiming for.
overbearing suntan lotion,
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
flavor on it. So
No, that's, I mean, the nose
Look,
is great.
there's a time and a
Good.
place for the suntan lotion.
right, yeah, it wasn't here, but yeah, we were happy
And
with it.
that's when you're 18.
Right, no doubt. When you don't care what you're drinking. All right, here we got a transparent beer, the Lucian Galaxies
Yep.
Pale Ale.
Hello.
I feel
That was
I
actually
feel
not
like
supposed to be part of the mystery
that's
bag.
cheating.
Oh,
No. Originally, that was going to be a drinker because we always like
I was
bring a
gonna say
drinker.
this is just your road beer.
Roadie.
or we just show up someplace and we have a drinker.
Not that we
Well,
do roadies.
do we want to pick a different one, or is this
No,
one
we can
okay?
drink it. I mean,
All
you guys
right.
haven't had it. I mean,
Sounds
so,
good. No, I'd love to drink it.
Yeah. So that beer is Nolan's favorite beer, the brewer.
Awesome.
And he basically brews that beer for himself. And it's
pale ale?
Yeah, it's a pale ale. It's
Yeah.
it's weird. You know, it's weird when you're sitting when you're beer tending, and we have 4 taps that are always on, and then we have six rotators, right? And sometimes you forget to drink the flagships.
Sure.
And now I've been drinking that. I'm like, that's such a great beer.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I have always said that, like, our pale ale is by far and away my favorite beer here. And it's just personal, right?
Yeah, I heard.
Right.
Just personally. But it's just easy, crisp drinking.
It's got a good smell to
Is
it.
that the pale ale? Because you said that's your favorite that you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the one that you were chasing when you started brewing, or were you chasing a different flavor,
No,
a different beer?
So when we started off, I brewed the Hop On Over, which is our pale ale. Matt brewed the Just Smoked Wheat and the Lotawana Ale.
Yeah.
And then my wife brewed
Yes.
the Bandit Bay Honeysuckle Red.
It was a red. I remember that.
You
Yeah.
remember the red because
Yeah.
you told us you're like what'd you say? You said something like leave it to her to like make the best beer here.
Of course.
Well, when
between the two guys.
To
Like
be fair,
Nigel's gonna start shit when he's here.
no.
Nigel's
Nick,
gonna
first
start
of
shit.
all, first
I
of
know
all,
you.
Who runs the world? Not us. Let's keep it fucking real.
Right.
No, we
And
don't deserve
that. That was my favorite beer when I came in. So shut the fuck
Nice.
up.
Right. Yep. Shut the fuck up.
You know, yeah,
There-
like you
Oh.
say, big shout out to Jackie.
Yeah.
Just
Shout out to Jackie.
Holy
in the
shit.
sense that, like, you know, like, yeah, I brew most of the beer now, but at the end of the day, like, she's definitely the one that keeps the shit running. Right?
Yeah.
Does she still brew?
Yeah.
She does.
Oh yeah.
She does.
Yeah.
She still brews that red. So
And there ain't nothing Jackie touches that ain't fucking perfect.
yeah, she's a really good
Doesn't matter what
baker,
it is.
cake maker, whatever. You
Holy
know, like.
shit.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's in her wheelhouse
Yeah.
as it is, right?
She does all the seltzer flavors, all the simple syrup
Oh,
for
no
the
shit.
seltzers.
Okay, heard.
and that's all her 100%.
So like our
They're-
seltzers,
They're amazing.
Are a little bit different than what you'd probably get as far as like we just make whole batch unflavored seltzer,
You heard.
and then we make simple syrups from boiling down fruit. So it's
Oh,
not your
shit. Yeah,
Torrini
yeah.
shit or
Yeah.
anything
So
like
you're
that.
kind of mixing them as you pour them.
Yeah, so
Yep.
we make them like cocktails, like craft
Nice.
cocktails.
No shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we can make
Garnish,
them as
all nice.
sweet or as dry as you want, you know,
That's
based,
kinda-
based on
that's
that.
kinda
That's a whole
Cool.
other fucking business.
right? It's,
Dude,
it's
I have
turned
fully
out
said, like, we sell so many damn seltzers that we could start a seltzer bar. Like,
Yep.
Have a little
I
pop, have a
feel
little
like,
pop up.
though,
You know, they have the fucking
Lake
the snow,
time-
the
For
snow,
real.
the snow cone places.
Oh
Have a
yeah.
fucking pop
Oh
up
yeah.
fucking
It'd be a hit, man. Out there at the soccer games.
shit by the lake.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Put that
like
shit on a
lake,
boat.
Oh yeah.
like lake time seltzers
is
are
that legal?
perfect.
Can you
'Cause
serve-
You can
can
hit
you
them
serve some
all
shit on
day
a boat?
long.
not
You
here.
cannot.
Not here. Not
You,
as
can, you cannot federally. So that never happened before, by the way.
Hey, a party's a party. We weren't selling
We
nothing.
were just dropping it off at a party. But, you know, those seltzers, I tell you what, like, it's one of those things that on a Sunday,
Yeah.
like on a Sunday afternoon out here in the yard, this shit crushes.
So
Like-
yeah, diametric. So Blake
Yeah.
used to
Yeah,
wear
sure.
fringe.
Love Blake. He's cool.
He has it's a fucking cantaloupe seltzer.
Nice.
Fabulous.
Really good.
Not too sweet, just
Yeah.
a little bit of that
just,
flavor.
It's just refreshing.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
and-
the thing.
No. It's not. It's the lies. It's refreshing, but you drink 3 of those motherfuckers.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
Get where you want to be.
You're not done. It's just it
Yeah.
just spurs you to the next thing you're
Yeah,
gonna do.
yeah,
the,
yeah,
yeah.
the shenanigans.
The next thing you're
like
gonna
if
do.
you're on a boat all day long,
Right.
Yeah, I tell you what, Blake's crushing it over there.
Yeah,
dude.
he came up the hard way working for Mark at Fringe, and Mark's my buddy, but it was great for him to do it.
Sure.
And for him to go to Diametric and be
Sure.
the guy, and you know those Diametric guys. I've known those guys since we're all
Yeah.
I was in the homebrew club. I was not a home brewer.
Yeah.
Let's get that shit.
you
straight.
just like to
drinking the
hang
beer,
out.
right?
Yes. You go to the club meeting. Everybody brings their beer. I'm like, oh, this is fucking great.
Yeah, no shit.
You know what?
But he's for him to get that gig.
Yeah.
Because they were brewing by committee, and he's streamlining the shit, and the beers are better. Nothing against my boys who were doing it
No,
before,
but
when it's one guy,
Yep.
It's
on you.
dialed.
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah.
It's badass.
did you catch the Juan Moore last weekend? Oh shit!
oh yeah, the salt and lime, yeah.
One more.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Juan Moore release
Nice.
last weekend was so good.
What do you guys
Nice.
think of this pale?
Good pale ale.
You guys get the you know the ABV? You probably don't, do you? You don't remember?
I don't remember.
I'll
I
start
was
it
just
off.
saying
Yeah,
though.
go ahead.
I'll say 5.5.
I was gonna say 5'7".
Okay.
5'6", just to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. 5'6".
Oh man.
I'm gonna say though, to your point earlier though,
Nolan.
Nolan's. I love Nolan. He's not the same brewer he was when he opened.
Well, no, everybody gets better.
That's what I mean. Is like I think like just that evolution.
How long's he been brewing? How long's Transparent been open?
5 years in August.
Nice.
But he spent time at Oscar Blues.
Oh, cool.
He spent time at Fayetteville and he's worked at 3 different places.
That's awesome.
St. Louis, Fayetteville, and North Carolina. So he's funny story. He was kind of like you guys. He was going to school to be a doctor. He was a pre-med guy.
Sure.
Wow.
And he's like, fuck this.
And then he was home brewing and turned in. He's like, I think I want to be a brewer. And his dad was like, okay. So here we are.
That's awesome.
Dude,
5 years later.
I'll tell you, this is the last thing that I'd fucking thought I'd ever be doing. Like, honestly. Like,
Well,
But
look, I
it's
think
interesting that your dad was a brewer, though.
yeah, I think that started the seed.
You
right?
know what I'm saying?
I agree.
That's wild.
Like
Yeah.
that set the seed, for sure. And my dad still talks about brewing up, his deal and whatever. And I think one day I'll have him in here to do to do our craft tap. So we have
a father-son on like Father's Day.
Hell yeah.
Fuck
Come
yeah.
on.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do it. So we do a
I
craft
take
tap
10%
here.
for that, by the way.
What's up?
I take 10% for that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get you a 4-pack. How about that, motherfucker?
We'll get you a 4-pack.
You're the shittiest agent ever.
Yeah, I don't know. We do a craft tap thing here, which I think is kind of fun. Like we'll invite different home brewers in to brew with us on our smaller system.
Yeah.
And we'll let them kind of choose the style of beer and everything like that and kind of do it up. And we'll put it on our craft tap. The cool thing is like that allows us to do some R&D of like what people want and what people like.
Yeah.
And we put it out and it's gone that same weekend.
Yeah.
So it's very much like kind of keeps things fresh.
Yeah.
It's like, having homemade ice cream or something.
Yeah, Grains and Taps, they do the same thing because they all start.
They
as
always
home
do that
brewers.
scale up. Yeah.
And so they'll there's always a beer from the ZZ Hops Homebrew Club on tap.
Okay.
Nice.
There's always one on there.
I did
not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, and part of the proceeds goes back to the club.
That's
Really?
badass.
That's cool.
Because Brian and Brad and those guys, I know those guys because of when it was down at Fringe back in the day.
Okay.
We were all in ZZ Hops.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's why I know these guys.
Because they were just the supply store.
Yeah, back then it was the supply store.
I will
Right.
tell you this. Big shout out to Grains and Taps.
Hell yeah.
'cause, when we started off, again, didn't know shit about brewing. Let's just reiterate that. But Grains and Taps, like they helped us every bit of the way, like getting our start. Like as far as like when we'd go in there, we had questions, or if we needed grain milled. Things like that. They were like, come over, we'll mill it for you. Like whatever.
Never made us feel stupid. Whether
never made us feel stupid.
whether after we walked out the door they did or not. I wouldn't blame them if they did, but
Those guys absolutely not.
No,
they
those
were
guys
great.
know. They know.
Still
they get
are.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
yeah, no, they're awesome.
I mean, I'm technically still an employee at Grains.
Are you?
Yeah, I still get the employee discount.
Nice.
You get
That's how you judge
discount.
it.
So funny story. So I've been around the beer thing for years because most of the guys who've come out of whether it be Goat or Diametric or Grains, they're all ZZ Hops guys. And so when Windshift opened, where now it's 9 Foot,
Right.
So Tony was a ZZ Hop guy, and so I'd be at the bar sitting there drinking with he and his wife opened it, kind of like a small operation like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys need some fucking help because they were getting smashed.
Yeah.
Because Tony was doing great beers, so that's how I got into the beer tending side of it, and then here we are. 5 years later?
More than that.
Yeah, it is more than that because it
He's
was
been
before
he's-
COVID. Yeah.
He's
I'll
been
tell
in
you.
Kansas for 4 years.
Did you hold that in?
Rolling out,
Yeah,
man.
that's
Just
like-
rolling out.
You tried to hide that.
That's how most of our employees got their start here, honestly.
Yeah.
Because like we've got a lot of people who are very passionate about hanging out here, just because it's
Because there's
it's
beer.
a thing. Like,
I love that. I'm passionate about hanging out.
Hell yeah.
no, but for real.
Cheers.
Like, yeah, right.
Just giving that place.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Passionate about hanging out, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Passionate
guys. Fuck yeah.
But we've had several of our employees, and one of them in particular. I don't know if you guys know Ray Ray Kuntz. He used to be the president of ZZ Hops, like way back in the day. He's been brewing since the 70s.
I probably know him.
He's a hell of a dude.
He's a hell of a dude.
That's a guest waiting to happen.
That's a what?
That's a guest waiting to happen.
Ray Kuntz, yeah.
Yeah, well, you
Hell
know
yeah.
what? One day Ray came to me and he's like, Mike, he's like, I want to help you out here. And, you know, me being just like, whatever, I didn't know this dude. And I was like, cool, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. You know, what the hell is that? I was like, cool, man. I appreciate
That was Ray.
He's
You
here.
talking about me?
Sure. He was like, yeah, I want to help you out. And I was like, cool, man. Thanks. You know, I appreciate that. Like, everybody wants to help.
Yeah.
You know? And then, like, a couple of times later, he was like, no, Mike, like, I really want to help you out. And I was like, cool, man, thanks. And he's like, no, Mike, like, I want a fucking job here. And I was like, oh, shit, because Ray's, you know, a retired engineer or something like that. So, like, I didn't anticipate that he actually wanted to work there.
Why does your brain want to work here?
No, 100%. And, like, he's been really good as far as, like, he's down for the cause, and he's a team player. So, you know, having somebody on like him on board that like has a background in brewing.
Y'all heard.
And
can coach motherfuckers up when they're
See
trying
it from a different side.
and when they're trying to drink something. Because one of the things, you know, to your point, you know, I work in Grandview. A lot of, you know, light beer drinkers.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so you got to, you know, what do you drink? What do you eat? Blah, blah, blah. Trying to coach them up.
Yeah.
And saying, well, try this, try that.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you do need a person that has some chops in just beer and can coach and can educate someone. Because again, to your point, you want to do sessionable beers. That's what Nolan does. Most of his beers, his whole thing, they're all session beers, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, when you come in and I give you the Kolsch and like, hey, maybe you should try this and kind of, you know.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
Put you on another style and be like, you're like, oh, I didn't know I would like that style. Because the amount of motherfuckers who come in and say, I don't like IPAs.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Fuck me, dude. So our hop on over is that exact. Like, I was like, you know what?
It's the
I want
bridge.
to, like, so the hop situation, right? You're 100% right.
Yeah.
And the hop situation, you get that all the time. I don't like hoppy beers, whatever. And so our pale ale that we have here was specifically made for people who don't like hoppy beers. I feel like hops are a huge part of the brewing system, you know, the whole deal. And so, like, that was our answer to people who don't like hoppy beers.
Yeah.
It's like just enough to, like, impart that taste, but not be overbearing.
Well, try this. You don't like it? Well, try this and see. See
Well, and I think, and Nick will agree, fucking hoppy has become a bad word.
Right.
Well, I
But
mean, what did Melissa tell us?
So earlier in our podcast, we were talking about not being in over our skis and shit. So during COVID,
we were.
So you know, we started right before COVID, and then
At the world ends,
and
right?
our plan was to just talk to Kansas City breweries.
Yeah.
Well, now you can go to breweries. That is solid work.
you know how you know when he's going strong?
Because he's doing that side mouth.
He
there,
turns his lips to the side. It's like Elmer Fudd's gonna let one go.
You know it, guy.
So we realized, well, we can't go to breweries, but everybody was Zooming back in 2020, right?
Sure.
And so I just started hitting the people up that I was like, hey, you want to come on our podcast?
Right.
And I had met this lady in London before the pandemic. She's a master cicerone, fucking chef, has written like 4 or 5 books. So London was on lockdown. I was like, Nick, I'm going to try and get, her name's Melissa Cole. She's a GABF judge, like the big shit in Denver.
Sure.
Yeah.
I hit her up. She's like, I'll
I
come
want
on.
to go to that.
I kind of do.
Just once.
But I
Just
but
once.
I kind of
Just
don't.
once.
Only because it's, I don't know.
Here's why I want to go.
Why?
I just want to go with our cameras and our mics once. Because
Okay,
I think
boy.
like we could get
Can we go together?
a shit ton of
Hey, I'm down.
shit
Can we
ton
go
of
together?
content.
I'm down.
Like we're gonna meet a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
50, 11 people, by the way.
So Melissa was like, yeah, I'll come on the podcast. So they're on lockdown in London, and she comes and does a
It was
Zoom
like
with-
their 4th lockdown
a
too.
Zoom with us, and she goes in on the word hoppy, and she's like, what the fuck is hoppy?
Don't say hoppy.
She's like, you ask people, what does hoppy mean? because as brewers, you know that hops, it's a wide range of shit.
Oh yeah.
Not all hops are bitter. Most hops now are.
That's how you use it, right? That's how you use it.
But also, most hops right now.
That's what she said.
They're all the phrasing. All the phrasing. Most hops right now, I feel like they're just imparting like fruits.
Sure.
I mean, Citra and
so we
whole
had
melon.
Idaho 7
Yeah.
is what we used in our first IPA that we did with David Baird. So shout out to David. David's another person that came here and was like, I want to, help you out, whatever. And David is a bona fide Cicerone. And he's in ZZ Hops right now. And the great thing about hiring David is anytime I have an off flavor or something I don't fucking like, I'm like, David, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And David will taste it and he'll be like, like, oh, you got this going on or this going on, and it helps me guide the ship a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I see what you did there. Guide the ship.
Yeah.
Well, it's like guide the boat.
Hey,
The little ship.
I'm sailing.
Oh my God.
Depends on how much you've been drinking. Yeah.
That's why we don't let Nick day drink. Or maybe this is why we let him day drink.
That's right. Yeah.
He loves. I'm like, hey, you want to do a podcast at 1? He's like, yeah.
Let it shine, man.
Like-
Wear it proud.
The older I get, the more I think day drinking is the way it's supposed to be.
Oh fuck yeah! That way you can pass the fuck out and wake up tomorrow and
Right,
do some more
because
day drinking.
Look, we're not 20 anymore, right? Like when you're 20, you can go hard all day.
Sure.
You can go hard
All day, all night.
Right.
Whenever you want, sir.
Right, when
It's
you're
an
young.
attitude.
Appreciate that, Nigel.
Your ass go. I crack up because I get off of work. It's 10:30 at night. Hell, it might be on a Friday night, and I'll drive by his house and all the lights are off. I'm like, this bitch is in bed.
I mean,
Yeah.
Hong Kong.
fair.
I don't even do that. I just drive by and chuckle
Yeah, right.
as I'm heading to ITAP.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's fair.
I don't know. How old are you?
I am 59, sir.
59.
I am 49.
49. So I'll be 46 this year.
Damn, you look young as fuck.
I do.
You don't look 46.
Oh,
man.
yeah. You don't look in the league yet.
Give me a couple years in this brewing business. Let's see.
I don't think your personality is that of stress.
Yeah.
So that's what makes you look young.
Well, and look, if you were gonna put Nigel and I together,
his vibe is like I'm so fucking chill, bro.
Hey, he's business, but there ain't nobody more laid back.
I mean,
than
like
this
seriously,
motherfucker
people would probably think that Nigel's 49 and I'm 59. It's
Yeah,
true.
I had some girl come in here the other day, and she came up to me and she was like, "What's up with you?" She's like, "You're so chill." She was like, "Is it the weed?" And I was like, and then she goes,
Yes.
She goes, "Is it your culture?" I go, "What the fuck are you trying to say right now?"
culture?
You know?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? I turned around and walked away. I was just like, I'm not even.
Maybe she meant the beer
I don't
culture.
even fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Lake life
but-
culture.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Say thank
she
you
was
and
like,
walk away.
yeah, she was like, you have this surfer vibe, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
It's the Missouri in me, landlocked by
Missouri.
Honestly,
Beer
it's the
name.
lake life, right?
The Missouri in me.
Beer name. There you
It's a brown. It's a brown ale.
go. Made with lake water.
Like,
There you go. That's the name of our seltzers, lake water seltzers.
No shit.
No shit.
That's fucking
That's
great.
awesome.
No shit.
so that seltzer water, the reason we named it that seltzer comes out at, I don't know, close to 7% ABV.
Okay.
Comes out of the
Whoa.
tap. But when we dilute it down with the ice and the simple syrups and everything, ends up around the 5% mark. But yeah, the trick is you can put some of that lake water in a cup and it just looks like water, but it's a alcoholic
Yeah, it was like
seltzer
that.
itself.
I think it was Stewie's had that Kansas City water.
Yeah.
It was totally clear. I was like, what
Yeah,
Was that from Brush Creek?
Brush Creek in the 90s, man.
That ain't clear. That ain't clear.
Right.
Brush Creek.
That's when they used to find bodies in that bitch.
Oh,
Remember that
yeah.
shit?
Oh, yeah.
Before they made it all nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. I worked in the 90s. I worked for Channel 5 and TV News.
Really?
I was a news photographer.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
covered dead bodies every fucking week. It was
Holy
wild.
shit.
So yeah, Brush Creek. I'm glad they fucking at least They haven't had body in there in a while.
I feel like I haven't seen that.
They're due for a good body.
They just
haven't
let it
seen
go
that
down into the
story in a
little
while.
blue and
It's
collect
been a
it
little
down there.
Yeah, they just stopped collecting them.
It reminds me of. So I've got some buddies who have a brewery in Oklahoma City, and they did a collab at Diametric, and they came up and did the collab. And it poured down rain, so that little lake behind. That's a fucking retention pond.
Yeah,
but it overflowed like all into the fucking parking lot. It was crazy.
Yep.
And so we were trying to figure out a name for the beer, and we're looking. the beer ended up being called Big Wheels, Basketballs, and Body Bags. Because we saw there was a big wheel in the water.
Right.
There was a basketball, and there was this white thing. We're like, that looks like a fucking body bag.
Got to be a body bag.
They're about to expand that retention pond into the parking lot. They're going to lose parking spaces.
They're expanding the pond?
They're going to lose
I
parking
hate
spaces.
to say it, but I gotta go.
Yeah, I see that little.
Dude, I don't know.
dance.
He sees it in my face. I broke the seal. God damn it.
Go pee. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It's all good.
It's fine.
I
You're
might-
not the friend.
I might edit
the podcast
this.
to go pee.
I might edit that out. I might not. You don't know.
You're not going to die. So Matt, let's
die.
talk about.
Who said die?
Dude, we can't. Yeah, you're recording, but we can't technically hear you. We're being muffled.
That's true.
So I should probably be doing this. Is this better? Now I can hear
There
you.
you go.
So you're not going to die.
No, I said we might edit it.
There we are.
Edit, die, same thing.
So let's talk about the expansion because you guys have got a new space.
Yes, sir.
What's happening next?
Yeah, so we just took possession of this the end unit on the adjacent building here, and we're going to expand our food operation. We're going to have more in the kitchen. I'll let Mike elaborate on that a little bit, but we're going to be doing some German based type menus.
Okay.
We're also going to have a outdoor bar, outdoor covered bar over here.
Nice.
So it's
going to be like connected? How you guys
it
gonna do
won't be connected. It'll technically be two separate entities.
Okay. But you can walk across the lawn. And
Absolutely. But yeah, the idea behind the outside bar is to service our outdoor stage on our Fridays and Saturdays.
Heard.
To
Nice.
have that and to kind of bring this back area, all together. So yeah, we'll have more of a kitchen area, little sit down area inside, bar inside, and more restrooms and just more space to be able to have when the sun's not shining.
Yeah. So what's it like in this grassy area
Beer
like on a
garden.
Friday night?
Yeah, it's hopping, man.
Is it really?
It's so we've been doing comedy on Fridays and blues on Saturdays,
Okay,
and it's man, the blues and the music outside. It's a great vibe. It's even when it's just music on the speakers. It's a real park theme, just a real open. One thing we noticed when we first opened that people that come up, they're not sitting there on their phones. They're not staring. You go a lot of places and there's 4 people staring at their phones.
Yeah.
Everybody's really engaging, and it's
and
really
the green space is fucking.
it's just warm. It's a good feeling. A fire pit all winter long. We had a tent up here all winter.
Oh, no shit.
Nice.
which was a big hit. It stayed warm as can be in there, and it'll run you out.
Did the Lotawana community just fully embrace hey, this is our brewery?
We feel like they have. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, with the outdoor opportunity.
I mean, because there's been Captains forever.
Sure. Yeah.
The different iterations
So
across
this is-
over there. It's
this
just
is not a
taco
bar,
now, but
right?
Yeah.
No, it's not a bar.
This is not a bar. So that's the thing is we've always said is this is a hang. When you come here on a Friday or Saturday night, you'll we've set up from our front yard to our side yard to our backyard. We've set it up to where there's several different areas for people to hang out. And if you're hanging out back playing pool or whatever, you would never know that there's all this shit going on up front. You know
There's
what I
an
mean?
outdoor pool table?
Yeah.
Dude, our property goes all the way around.
Oh,
It
we
goes
need to
way
take a
back.
I
tour.
have
apparently.
no idea. I
Absolutely.
had no idea there was
And that's
outdoor
the
pool.
idea with all this is kind of bring everything
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
to be able to.
So
to utilize.
with this new space, it's kind of one of those things where we hadn't really anticipated doing that yet, but it came available, and at the end of the day, it was an opportunity for us to kind of be able to have a little bit more room to bring in a little bit more food and things like that.
Because how often does a space come open?
Exactly.
Right?
That's the
Down
thing.
here, it's limited.
That's the thing, and so now it gives us front side exposure on Colburn Road out there.
Yeah.
But also, we're putting in a full bar there, so it'll be more of a full cocktail type bar. But at the end of the day, what it does is just like your knuckleheads or your grinders, it gives us a big area to kind of encompass and essentially have all these different areas where if you don't like all the kids going crazy in the front yard. I saw this meme or whatever the other day on Instagram or some shit that was like the birth rate reduction is due in part to like everybody bringing their kids to the breweries. Love hate because I love the fact that people feel comfortable enough to bring their kids and their dogs and just chill and like do that in the yard, and like it's great vibe, right?
Yeah.
I also understand the other side of things as well, like of just wanting to go chill and like whatever.
Yeah.
So we've set it up to where there's several different areas all around, to where like if you're not digging the kids in the front yard, you can go in the back and hang out.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
No, it's a great space. So back to the sign. That would be, and Nick knows as soon as I say it, he's gonna know where I'm going with the sign. That would be a great neon sign.
Oh yeah.
If that was a neon sign, we got a guy.
We got a guy.
Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. So if you go downtown Lee Summit now, a lot of places have the neons.
Yeah.
So
the
there's
Fossil Forest.
Fossil Forest.
Yeah.
That's
our boy.
If you wanted to do like when you do the front over here, to put a neon, that would be fucking dope.
Nice, man.
I mean, that's the perfect neon. That would be great.
No,
the
100%.
things you could do with that with light.
Or
I mean, just as like
just
design wise.
Yeah, no.
Design wise, the things you could do with light on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
that would be fucking sick.
Well, we should talk.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're great people as well. And
we got to figure out how like Beers with Nigel gets a cut of that.
That's what the talk's all about.
Dude, it's a 4-pack.
We've established that.
And look, I feel like a sign that's an 8.
An 8-pack?
Yeah, that's 8.
Maybe we'll have a Beers with Nigel beer tending night.
There you go.
Fuck yeah. We rock those.
Have you guys done that before?
We did a couple at Old Windshift.
Yeah, we did it. We did it Windshift a couple of times. Yeah.
So what's up? That place went out a long time ago.
So
he had to move to Kansas.
I understand what happened.
Tony and Lynn. She went to go take care of her dad.
No, I know. 100%.
So
my point is that happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
Where are you at on this now? Let's go. Come on.
Hey, all you gotta do is tell us when to show up.
We're free agents. It's fine.
We'll have some dumbasses show up too.
There'll be some stupid people who show up.
No. I would love that. That would be great.
We would do it. I mean, we've been talking about Vine Street about doing it there. We've yet to do it. So on a Sunday.
All right.
We'd come in and do a little event.
That's one thing that, like, when you have, like, one of the things I would say about the events that we do here and stuff, like, we're not we're not a bar, we're a hang. And so, like, we just did this shit that was fucking ridiculous, and it just spawned, like, we have a handful of regulars that hang out here, big shout out to them, but, like, hang out here on a regular on Wednesday and Thursday night, and we're just sitting here over the wintertime, and they're the ones that kept us going, right? Yeah. Like, you know how shit gets. Like, after New Year's, like, everybody's, like, ain't spending shit.
Not drinking.
Right.
Drinking,
yeah.
like,
Being
dry January or whatever.
Dry January is the dumbest bullshit ever.
It is the dumbest fucking hoax I've ever seen.
Like, seriously,
like,
what do you want to do? Put your friends out of business?
Like, if you got a drinking problem, like, take Dry January. That's great, you know? But at the end of the day, like, keep your shit in check.
Slow and steady all year long.
Look, I just spent an entire month... 2 months from November to December with family. Why the fuck am I gonna not drink in January? I gotta recover.
You deserve that.
You deserve that.
Earned my
You
January
that
drinking.
Month. So this is our advocacy for fuck Dry January. Yeah.
Like Dry January is dumb.
Yeah. Needless to say, like, you know, a lot of the events that we do here. We try to do events that are kind of off kilter, right?
Yeah.
Like events that you wouldn't have at a normal bar or whatever. And so, like a week ago, I don't know if you guys saw, we did our spaghetti western.
Oh yeah,
Which shout out to City Barrel, because like I'm pretty sure they came out with a beer recently that was called spaghetti western.
Yeah. No way.
I wish we would have had it here on tap or whatever
that
for
fun,
for that event. But basically, we were sitting here on a Wednesday night. We're like, what kind of crazy shit can we do? And so last year we did like a cool vibes slippy slide. So we did 100-foot slippy slide.
Nice.
You know,
After hours. Didn't open till after the doors closed.
Yeah, you had to be cool to be there. But,
Be cool, man.
but needless to
Be
say,
cool.
this last week we did a spaghetti western night, and we rented a mechanical bull. You know, and it comes with this like inflatable arena and everything that. And we did like best mustache contest and best dressed. You know,
it was
everything.
perfect.
I grew a handlebar mustache and everything. Usually, I'll post the video of me doing my last ride on that bull, but I refused to let go of that goddamn thing. And it was shaking me around like a rag doll, you know. But it's things like that. You know, we do an Easter keg hunt.
Yeah. Easter keg hunt.
Yes.
Not
You know,
Easter
kind of like
eggs.
Johnny Dare used to do.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is all with.
Oh yeah.
You looked excited about it.
You know what?
That was weak,
I'm
though.
gonna put money on the fact that you're cooler than Johnny Dare.
I love
You know
Johnny Dare.
what?
He didn't have a job.
I mean,
right.
you know, maybe right
He's
now.
75. It's okay.
He's 75.
He is not that old, actually.
Whatever.
He's probably
No.
not 75, but he's probably 65.
You think so?
I don't know.
I know
Nah.
he's not. He's not that much older than me.
How old
but-
is he?
but
He's your brother's age.
he's in his 50s.
was your
Oh, so
brother.
he's just like 5
He's in
years
it-
older
he's
than
in
me.
his 50s.
Like
he-
50?
Yeah,
something?
he's mid
50.
50s.
He's
something.
mid
just looks
he's mid late
65.
50s.
He
But
actually-
he's been doing the same show. Well,
Yeah,
he was.
since we were kids. Since we were kids,
He was
right?
been doing the same show from like 1992.
Right,
to-
no, 100%.
I'm
What,
not mad
like a
at
month
him.
ago?
You can pull that. I mean, just
No,
think
no,
about
no.
it.
Look, no. He was a
Are you
he was a
hating?
piece of Kansas City.
Yeah.
I really think that-
radio. I worked in radio. That's not a real job.
Oh man.
I really feel like
I
John.
can't imagine.
He is a piece of Kansas City media
He
history.
is, and I feel like he's like Kansas City's Kid Rock, right? Like just a little bit.
Less, but with
Yeah.
less money.
There's a lot that goes into that. I mean, there's a lot of baggage in that analogy.
All right, it's mystery beer time
All right.
What? What'd you say it was?
because I'm out of beer. So,
Mystery.
and I'm excited about the beer that's in there because it was something that I got at Fringe.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So shout out to Eddie.
Absolutely.
Apparently there was a place that closed, some distributor or some shit. So this beer, I was like, what the fuck is that? They bought a bunch of shit from this whoever, and they just bought it because it was going cheap.
Wow.
And so
They're
there's-
like, we got pallets of this shit. Do you want it?
yeah, exactly.
So this is the last time you'll ever drink this beer.
Dun, dun,
You know
dun.
what? There's 2 in here. I forgot.
We'll
Two of
see
the
what
same
happens.
beer?
No. So,
Okay.
the
So we
small,
got
the,
two
small,
more.
the small can is what I was talking about.
We drank the roadie.
We sure did. We drank the drinker. So I'm gonna let you do it. If you want to do the small one, that's the one I was talking about. And there's a big one in there too.
Whoa,
feels like there's- I
whoa!
don't know what's in here, but it feels
Whoa.
like a titty.
Oh, that's an implant.
Oh, wrong bag.
This thing?
Yeah.
This thing looks like a
Don't look
matcha
at-
drink.
don't
or
look at
some
What
the
shit.
is
ABV?
that?
I won't look at the ABV.
Is that a
Cascade
beer?
Brewing Company. So is this
Which I think Cascade is no
Is this-
longer a thing.
West Coast?
is this West Coast?
Yeah, I think so.
Should be.
Okay. Yeah, because we used to live like in the Cascades up there.
Yeah. Good
okay.
luck with that.
It kind of, it must be a high ABV just based on the fact that it's a small can, right?
Small
I
can, heavy
have
beer.
no idea. To be honest with you.
Either that or they're getting more money for their.
For who?
Hold on.
Oh boy.
Lord.
Here, I'll let me do this.
Jesus
for you. Let me do this for
Dude,
you.
see how small that can is and that poured as you poured?
I
Good
did.
Lord.
Brewmaster, not beer tender.
They don't like me behind the counter because I'm really good at handing out beers. I suck shit at ringing shit up. So, I'm like, yeah,
As
Ni-
the business manager, I'll second.
You said I suck at running
dude, I'm just like, I'm like, yeah, Nigel, you look like you need another beer. Like, whatever.
See, my thing is like we do at Transparent, we do full pours and we do half pours, right?
Okay.
So we don't do like the 4 ounce whatevers.
We do an 8 ounce.
Because we don't do a flight. You can build a flight.
Well, there is a flight.
I mean, if you're ambitious, we have 10 beers. You can get the Nigel flight, and the reason it's
that 10
called
beers?
the reason it's called Nigel flight is 10 half pours. When they first opened, I've known Nolan forever. When he first opened, he had 8 beers. I said, just give me all the beers, the small pours. not knowing they were half pours.
You asked for that personally?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I had them all lined up, and so now it's still a thing. And people will come in, I want the Nigel flight.
Nice.
So it's all 10 beers.
Yeah.
I mean, it took
60
a while
ounces
for
of
us
beer,
to
40
make
ounces
that
of
a
beer.
thing.
Yes.
It took a while for us to make that a thing, but we kept trying
Nice.
to make
It's-
Nigel flight a
it's,
thing.
it's a thing.
Oh,
You just got to keep putting it out there.
No, we had somebody a couple weekends ago. I wasn't even there. They're like, we want the Nigel flight.
That's awesome.
All right.
Okay, so what's this one called? The Cascade La Rita Loca?
La Rita Loca. I think it's like a fruited sour. Or
Are
something.
we living
Yeah, I
La
was going
Rita
to say, it's got
Loca?
a nose to it for sure.
I'm pretty sure that because the one I had before was a different one, but it was fruit sour.
I'll just
It
tell
was
you
fire,
right
though.
now, I'm not a sour person, so this will be interesting.
You know what? I wasn't either for 2 episodes.
Until he just, that is
I like that.
that is like zingy.
Yeah.
No, that kind of.
That is very sour.
You know, the one
I
thing
like
I'll say
that.
about sour beers is doing all our R&D back here. Like, be quite honest, when we started out on that bigger system, we dumped quite a bit of beer because we were like, we're not going to put this shit out.
Accidentally
like,
making sour beer.
just accidentally making
Okay,
sour
accidental
beers.
sours are not sours.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I did have a guy the other night come in specifically. He asked, "You guys have got a sour IPA?"
Wow.
I was like, "Bro, that's like 4 years ago. Nobody's
Oh
doing."
my God, what are you doing?
Open
Did
your
you hear
palate.
how loud he slapped that
Oh
down?
my God!
Relax the jaw, open the mind.
Yes.
That's a beer name. That's a beer name.
God, dude.
Relax the
No, it's
jaw,
sour smart.
open your
Yeah,
mind.
it is.
He done spilled some on the counter. Oh my God!
Dude, that's
It's okay.
just
It didn't
yours.
hit the machine, so I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
good.
Fucking out on that. Like, honestly, yeah.
You
You
gotta
know,
open up. It's okay. It's fine.
Mike,
Hey.
this is the rule about sours.
Just relax
There's
and
a
let
rule
it
about
happen.
there's a rule about sours.
What is
I want to
it?
hear it.
You take that first taste. Obviously, it's gonna blow. It's gonna be like
it's like
you got to take 2
sock
more
in the mouth.
because the second time and the third time it's different.
Doesn't hit you like the
Yes.
first taste.
I'm
Yeah.
You're,
telling
you're
you.
shocked the
Yeah.
first
It's
time.
not
For
as shocking
sure.
as
Yeah.
Are you sure?
take one more. One more. You can do it.
This is like if I just brushed my teeth and then tried to fucking taste out of beer.
What? What toothpaste tastes like a sour? Good Lord!
Bro.
OJ toothpaste.
So what he's saying is sours aren't his thing.
No.
His
no.
face though is.
I know.
Me
I
neither.
know.
But
I'm
it's
gonna
like,
do nothing
I'm
but a loop
interested
of your
in
face
in
on the social media.
in the how and the why and the what. You
And
know?
for what it is,
Like,
it's not.
Yeah.
It's hitting you in the wrong way, but it's actually not terrible.
Yeah, and if you like,
No,
if you're-
I like this.
if you're trying to find a raw beer to drink,
Yeah.
you're not going to be happy. But if you're not looking for a beer,
Yeah.
you know?
I have no clue what the ABV is.
I mean neither. I have
But
nothing
but
to
I
gauge.
but I like
yeah.
this beer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Probably.
It's not high.
4.8.
I was going to go like a 5.2.
Okay.
You know
And
what?
if I
I'm
win
gonna-
this, I am not fucking drinking that
I think
beer.
we poured it all
I'm
out.
I'm
I think
pri-
we
I'm
did.
prices.
Yeah, I think you
I'm
win.
prices writing you on this. And I'm gonna go 5-1.
Yeah. I mean, I was
Oh.
gonna. Yeah. What was yours for? What?
4.8.
I'll do 5.
Okay. You get
On
to
the
tell
money.
us
Our
the
actual retail ABV.
Holy shit! The 7.1.
Whoa!
But yeah, I have no.
Whoa!
I mean, I wouldn't know how to.
By the way,
Yeah.
that means you win. You have to drink it.
That is not happening. I don't know if y'all can see Brewer here, but this is our team mascot here. His name's Brewer. He hangs out with me.
He's super cute.
Yeah, he's super cute. He
Look at
hangs
that.
out
That's
with
a good
me
doggy.
when I'm brewing beer and shit. You know.
So
out there
has his
like
name
that.
been Brewer before you brewed? Or after
Yeah,
you?
so we got him like shortly after we opened.
right
Okay,
after.
heard.
You know, and I think they called him Moose or something stupid before.
Brewer's
This-
way better.
I'm like, look at his color. He's a brewer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's an
man.
amber ale.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Amber ale.
So we have a stout at Transparent called Tippin', and it's one of Nolan's dogs.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
And the dog's face is on the board.
Perfect.
You know, so that's one thing that call it what you will, but that's one thing that I've noticed is a trend in brewing, is like the guy that we got our system from out in Winter Park, at Hideaway Park Brewing. He had a picture of his dog in the
Yeah,
brewery,
yeah.
and it was a dog that he lost and everything
Yeah, I
like
heard.
that, whatever. And then we came up with a beer called Ice Baron, which is actually getting ready to Oh, sorry. Getting ready to come.
There's no apology needed.
Yeah, this beer called Ice Baron that's getting ready to come out, and it's named after Ice Baron means polar bears.
Okay.
In German, and
Okay.
so I used to have like a Great Pyrenees Golden Retriever, and there was a dog named Nelsie that used to come up here all the time. And she passed away shortly after we opened the brewery, whatever. But she loved coming up here, and so we actually named that beer after them or whatever.
Heard.
But it's a Belgian wit beer, that we're getting ready to come out. But I've noticed a lot of connection between dogs and
Yeah.
When you first said that, I thought it was like 1996, and we were doing ice brews.
Yeah, sure,
yeah.
sure.
You remember that?
Sure.
Like everybody was, it's
Sure.
Ice House Brew.
But
What was
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
it's Ice House.
I was gonna say, what is that?
Yeah.
What was that? What was that weird shit that was like seltzer, but it was
Zima?
Zima?
Oh yeah, probably
Everybody did the
first generation.
Zima thing.
I
or
used to
whatever.
fuck with some Zimas, bro.
Yeah, the cut glass.
Yeah, you
That's
did.
back in the day when they had the deuces.
Yeah.
Were
Remember
those-
the bottles, the deuces.
Were those
Wide
seltzers?
mouth.
Was Zima
No.
seltzer?
No,
It was
that
malt-
was,
it was
a
malt
malt
liquor.
liquor.
Malt liquor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
No, you got to say like malt liquor.
Malt liquor.
That's like the Mickey's, right? Like the Mickey's.
Mickey's is still popping though.
It's a malt liquor,
is
though,
Mickey's
right?
White
Yeah, it's
Mouth?
malt liquor.
Is it still a thing?
Mickey's will get
Did
you
we not
fucked
have one on the
up.
podcast one time? I'm pretty sure I brought a Mickey's on, son.
We
Dude,
might have.
Mickey's will get you
We've
fucked
done
up.
120 some of these.
Ooh, how many beers have we drank? In
At least 400.
At least
We won't hold you to it.
At least 400.
So
Look,
let's
I
wrap
didn't
this-
think this thing was going to last 3 episodes.
Yeah, right.
Here we are.
yeah.
Good for you guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
it was a COVID fine. It was here we are.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we appreciate you guys coming on, man. This has been fun.
Thanks
Dude,
for
it's been
coming
great
out,
fun
man.
for
We're
us.
probably gonna do an off-air mystery beer. So for those who are watching, sorry about you.
We
Where-
may or
where
may
can-
not have video of it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
heard.
mean, like
You
if
know,
you want to go to the YouTube channel,
the
you
after
might
show.
see it. You might see the after
We'll just
show.
keep recording.
Yeah.
Where can they find you guys on the socials? Where you located? What street? To give
So-
everybody where if you want to come
Sure.
to Lotawana Brewing, what do you got to do?
9420 South Shrout Road. So it comes up Grain Valley, but that's basically a misnomer. Essentially, Lotawana.
A misnomer.
Yeah, well, Lotawana annexed this whole area a few years ago. This used to be the southeast or southwest corner of Grain Valley, right here at this house. And Lotawana annexed it maybe, I don't know how long ago.
5 or so years ago.
5 or so years ago. So it's all Lotawana, but in order for us to do all the changes,
Yeah.
you got to get with the Postmaster General. You got to update all of our permits and everything. So it's a big hassle. But
Yeah.
9420 South Strout Road.
We are Lake Lotawana.
Grain
but
Valley.
AKA the big street out here.
Yeah, Colburn.
Yeah.
Colburn Road. We're right across the street from Canoe Club,
Yeah.
Captains, right next to Tipsy Taco.
Yeah.
And as far as finding us on social media, it's Lotawana Brewing on Facebook. Same way with Instagram, and then LotawanaBrewing.com.
There it is.
There it is.
Nick,
You know
where
what?
can they
You know what,
find us?
Nigel?
What's that?
You can find the Beers with Nigel podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Yeah.
most any of your favorite podcast apps. And if you want to follow on the socials, because you still think that's cool, what the kids are doing, Nigel, I think you're still posting on the Instagrams.
No, Instagram's hopping, man. People love our Instagram.
Are you on the Book of Faces?
I'm on all the face of the books.
All the faces of the
We've pretty much given up on the tweeter.
Yeah. Tweeter.
Fuck
Tweeter's-
Tweeter.
Yeah. The artist formerly known as Tweeter.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're about the Instagrams.
Yeah. No, the nice thing about Instagram is it just connects to Facebook. So
Exactly.
But
I only got to do it once.
Yes.
I fully endorse the YouTube channel. Go to Beers with Nigel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We're all there.
If you want to see the shenanigans,
Raw.
the raw
The
shenanigans,
raw
Beer name.
bullshit
Raw
that is our
shenanigans.
show.
That's
You
going to
can
have to
go
be like
there.
a wild ale.
We need to take notes next time.
And you know what?
I've got a list of beer names. So here, I'm going to remember
bet.
some of this shit.
Yeah, we'll holler.
Yeah, go for it.
Good night, folks.
You've been listening to Beers with Nigel, a show about beer and other stuff, hosted by Nigel Woodberry and that other guy, Nick Parker. Beers with Nigel is poured for you by Dire Oil Graphics, providing bumper-to-bumper graphic design, promo products, and print services. Find them at direoil.com. Beers with Nigel is a proud member of the Fredcast Network and is available on all of your favorite podcast flavors. Find Beers with Nigel on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and ask Alexa to play the Beers with Nigel podcast.